In 1978, something slipped quietly into circulation. No headlines, no alarms, no one rushing to the bank, just a single copper coin, born ordinary, spent ordinary, and forgotten a broken bar, or so the world believed. But what if I told you that this humble penny, a 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, has been linked to values so extreme they defy logic, numbers whispered in collector circles, prices that sound like mistakes, 6 figures, 7 figures, even rumors brushing against $1 million, and the most unsettling part, millions of these coins passed through American hands, a broken bar, and some may still be hiding in plain sight. This is not a fairy tale. This is a story of oversight, error, and opportunity, and it begins with the most overlooked object in your home, a penny. The kind you toss in a jar, the kind you ignore on the sidewalk, the kind that never seems worth bending down to pick up. But in 1978, the United States Mint struck Lincoln cents in Philadelphia without a mint mark, as it always had. Nothing unusual on the surface, no letter, no fanfare, just Abraham Lincoln staring right, calm and unassuming. Yet beneath that calm surface, something was wrong. Or perhaps a broken bar, something was very right, because while most 1978 no-mint mark pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, a tiny fraction were born with hidden flaws, minting errors so subtle, so overlooked, that they escaped into circulation unnoticed. Errors that today have become the stuff of legend. Errors that turned pocket change into life-altering money. And here's the first twist. You don't need to be a coin expert to have held one. You just needed luck. Think about that for a moment. In 1978, gas was under $1. People paid cash. Pennies moved constantly. Grocery stores, vending machines, change trays, couch cushions. These coins lived real lives. They were dropped, spent, saved, and forgotten. And during that chaos, a handful of flawed coins slipped through, each one a silent time bomb of value. So what makes a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent explode in price? It's not the date alone. It's not the lack of a mint mark. It's the errors hiding in plain sight. Let's start with doubled dies. Imagine the design being struck not once, but twice, slightly misaligned. The result, doubling so clear it looks like Lincoln has a shadow. Letters that appear to vibrate. Date numbers that seem to echo themselves. To the untrained eye, it's just wire. To a trained collector, it's adrenaline. Now add another layer. Off-center strikes. Coins struck when the plankett wasn't seated properly. Part of the design missing. Lincoln's face drifting toward the rim. The date partially gone. These aren't mistakes you're supposed to see, and that's exactly why collectors obsess over them. Then there are broad strikes. No collar holding the coin in place. The metal spreads wider than it should, distorting the design. A penny that looks a broken bar wrong. Too wide. Too soft around the edges. Almost melted. Wrong is where the money lives. And then come the errors that stop conversations cold. Wrong plankett strikes. A 1978 Lincoln cent struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, or a different metal altogether. Imagine a penny that weighs too much, or too little. A coin that doesn't sound right when dropped. A copper cent struck on a silver-colored plankett. A mistake so dramatic that when verified, it becomes a trophy. This is where prices leap, not by dollars, but by orders of magnitude. Verified, authenticated, high-grade error coins have sold for staggering sums. Auction records and reported private sales have stunned even seasoned collectors. 6 figures aren't unusual for top-tier examples. And then there are the sales that circulate like myth. A coin said to have reached as high as $844,000 when condition, rarity, and error align perfectly. Is every report easy to verify? Number. That's the nature of rare markets. But here's the undeniable truth. Elite error Lincoln cents have commanded prices that rewrite expectations. And condition is everything. A coin with a dramatic error in poor shape is interesting. In pristine, near-perfect condition, it's explosive. Grading changes lives. A 1978 no-mint mark cent graded at their highest levels, MS 67, MS 68, or beyond, they become something else entirely. Suddenly it's not a penny, it's a statistical anomaly, a survivor, a needle in a copper haystack. How many were saved in that condition? Almost none, which raises a chilling question. What if one survived a broken bar untouched, a broken bar forgotten, a broken bar sitting in a jar for decades? What if someone spent it without knowing? And what if you already own one? This is where the story turns personal, because unlike gold coins locked in vaults or rare stamps sealed away by experts, the 1978 Lincoln cent lived among the people. It passed through everyday hands. It hid in everyday places. And that means discovery isn't limited to museums or millionaires. It's limited only by attention. Most people never look closely at their pennies. They assume rarity announces itself. It doesn't. It whispers. A slightly thicker letter, a date that looks doubled, a rim that feels wrong, a weight that doesn't match. These are the breadcrumbs. And here's the cruel irony. The same trait that makes these coins so valuable at their subtlety is why so many were lost forever. Pattern interrupt. Let this sink in. The difference between 1 cent and a life-changing payday could be a detail smaller than a grain of rice. Collectors know this. That's why they hunt relentlessly. That's why they pay fortunes. Because once an error is documented, authenticated, and locked into a private collection, it's gone from the wild forever. Every year, the pool shrinks. Every year, the odds change. And every year, someone finds something extraordinary by accident. A man sorting change, a woman cleaning out an old drawer, an inherited jar no one wanted. These aren't fantasies. They're documented realities of the coin world. And when a genuine, high-grade 1978 no mint mark error surfaces, the room changes. Dealers lean in, phones come out, voices drop, because they know what it could mean. Not just money, a legacy. A story that starts with "I almost didn't check," a revelation that turns spare change into security. This is why urgency matters, not panic. Awareness, because the coins aren't getting younger, they aren't getting better preserved, and they aren't getting more common. The longer they sit unnoticed, the more are damaged, spent, or destroyed. Opportunity favors the curious. So here's the final turn of the knife. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln cent is not rare because it was meant to be. It's rare because of human error, mechanical imperfection, momentary misalignment, fractions of seconds in a minting process that produced millions and failed just enough times to change a few lives. Those failures are still out there, possibly in your home, possibly within arm's reach, and the only thing separating you from that discovery, a broken bar, is whether you look. Tonight, when you hear this story echoing in your mind, when you walk past that jar or that drawer or that old box you've ignored for years, remember this. History doesn't always announce itself with gold and glitter. Sometimes, it waits quietly. A broken bar, copper-colored, a broken bar worth 1 cent to the world, a broken bar, until the right eyes finally see it. Imagine this. You reach into your pocket, pull out a penny, and without realizing it, you're holding something that could change your life forever. Not a gold coin, not an ancient relic, a penny, brown, ordinary, forgotten, or so it seems. Because one specific penny, struck in 1981 with no mint mark, has sent shockwaves through the coin world. A broken bar, and in rare cases, has been linked to values that climb into the hundreds of thousands and even whispers of millions. And the most unsettling part, it looks just like the one you might have right now. This isn't a fairy tale, it's a story hiding in plain sight. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Most were spent, lost, ground into asphalt, but a tiny fraction slipped through the system carrying secrets, saying microscopic mistakes, hidden varieties, anomalies so subtle they escaped notice for decades. These weren't supposed to exist, and yet a broken bar they do. Collectors call it one of the most deceptive modern coins ever made. At first glance, the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent looks painfully normal. Lincoln's familiar profile, the same date you've seen 1,000 times. No mint mark beneath the date, which feels meaningless, because Philadelphia cents didn't use mint marks then. Nothing screams treasure. Nothing begs to be pulled from circulation. And that's exactly why so many were overlooked. But what if I told you that within this sea of ordinary cents lies a perfect storm of minting chaos? Say doubled dies, transitional metal mysteries, proof style anomalies, and condition rarities so extreme that when authenticated, they've ignited bidding wars that left seasoned collectors stunned. Here's where the story turns. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was under pressure. Costs were rising, copper prices were volatile, technology was changing, and the quality control systems that once caught errors early were being stretched thin. Dies were overused, plan case varied, adjustments were rushed, mistakes slipped through. One of the most electrifying discoveries tied to the 1981 no mint mark cent is the existence of dramatic double die varieties, not the soft, barely their kind, but bold, unmistakable doubling that jumps out once you know where to look. Lincoln's eye, his ear, the lettering in Liberty, in God we trust, letters that appear to vibrate, split, or shadow themselves like a ghost image. Collectors missed them for years. Why? Because no one expected something like that from a modern penny. Then came the proofs. Proof coins are supposed to be perfect, mirror-like fields, razor-sharp details. They're struck with specially prepared dies, handled with care, and never meant for circulation. Yet a small number of 1981 cents surfaced that look at a broken bar wrong, or rather, two right. Coins with proof-like surfaces, deep mirrors, an extraordinary strike quality but no mint mark, no S for San Francisco, no official explanation. Were they experimental strikes, mishandled proofs, transitional errors? Nobody could say for certain, and uncertainty is rocket fuel for value. Now add condition rarity to the mix. Most pennies are abused from the moment they're born. Bags, roll machines, pockets, vending slots, but a handful of 1981 no mint mark cents survived untouched. Not just uncirculated, pristine, near-perfect red copper surfaces with blazing luster and zero distractions under magnification. When coins like that are certified as the very top of the grading scale, the market changes instantly. Because perfection is rare, and rarity breeds obsession, auction records and private sale reports began circulating. Prices climbed, then leapt, then exploded. Stories emerged of elite collectors paying staggering sums for top condition examples paired with the right terroir doubled dies, proof-like anomalies, or die varieties confirmed by major grading services. Some reports point to sales reaching as high as $844,000 for an exceptional, one-of-a-kind specimen, a single cent, less than 3 grams of metal, suddenly commanding the price of a luxury home. And then the whispers started. Could there be others? Could similar examples still be sitting in jars, drawers, or old coffee cans passed down from parents who never imagined their pocket change might hold generational wealth? That's the moment the hunt began. Collectors started tearing through rolls. Magnifying glasses came out. Online forums lit up. Every 1981 penny without a mint mark became a suspect. And with each discovery of a new variety, the tension grew. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't need to find the exact coin that made headlines. You just need to find the right one. A strong doubled die, a rare die pairing, a pristine red example that survives grading, a proof-like strike that raises eyebrows. Any one of those can catapult a worthless penny into the realm of serious money. Combine 2 or 3, now you're talking about a coin that stops conversations cold. And the window isn't closed. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, these cents were made in living memory. They passed through grocery stores and gas stations. They were tossed into couch cushions and forgotten in glove compartments. Many are still out there, hiding in plain sight, indistinguishable to the untrained eye. That's what makes this story dangerous. Because once you know what to look for, you can't unknow it. Every 1981 penny becomes a question mark. Every no mint mark cent becomes a possibility. Every roll of pennies becomes a lottery ticket you can actually influence with knowledge. And here's the twist no one talks about. The biggest fortunes in coin collecting aren't made by people chasing the rarest coins. They're made by people who recognize rarity before the rest of the world catches on. The 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent sits right at that intersection, modern enough to still be accessible, old enough to have developed through scarcity at the top end, and mysterious enough to keep experts debating its most extreme examples. That debate fuels demand, demand fuels prices, and prices rewrite what we think is possible. So the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth your time, Remember this story. Remember that history doesn't always announce itself with trumpets. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a coin jar. Look closer. Tilt the coin under light. Study the letters, the details, the surfaces. Ask yourself the question most people never think to ask: what if this is the one? Because somewhere out there, someone unknowingly spent the cent that could have paid off a house, and somewhere else, someone picked up a penny, paused, looked twice, see a broken bar, and changed their life forever. The only real question left is simple: will you be the one who checks?